Hey guys, I wanted to come on here and finally do something I've been mentioning for, I don't know, months, years, weeks, who knows how long, but I wanted to get on here and film a get to know me video. For those of you who follow me on Instagram or on Twitter, you know that I've been wanting to share videos with you, whether it be about product, whether it be about myself, which this video will be about today. So I'm just gonna dive right in and get to a few questions that were asked. This will be a shorter video, but I definitely want to hear from you down below. If you'd like a part 2, feel free to put your questions down below, because I didn't get very many answers to my question on my story reel, but shout out to my girl Sylvia. She did hook me up with some really great questions that I'm gonna base this content around. One of the first questions that I want to get to and answer is, yes, my name is Sarah Drew. No, Drew is not a part of my first name. It's funny because I've lived all over the place in the US, but it's only in Texas that people feel the need to call me Sarah Drew specifically. If I'm lying, I have friends that follow me from New Orleans to Tennessee. So if you guys used to call me Sarah Drew and I just forget, please let me know, because I've never understood the fascination with saying my first and last name, but it's cool. I love it. So yes, my name is Sarah Drew. I am pretty used to being the new girl on the block, the new girl in town. So I'll answer a question that I get all the time, which is, where are you from? I get this question because I don't think a lot of people either know I have an accent or they think I have an accent and they're curious, but I've literally lived all over the place, guys. I was born in LA. I only lived there for about 3 years. My mom will remind me and anyone else of that till the day I die, because I swear I'm West Side, but she's like, you're not from California. You did not live there long enough to say you're from California. So, you know, shout out to all the critical parents out there in the world. After living in California, we moved to Delaware. I spent a majority of my childhood in Wilmington, Delaware. That is where my grandparents, or a set of my grandparents, live. And I met my childhood best friend, who's more like a sister there. So Delaware has a huge piece of my heart. A lot of family there that I love and adore, and that's the Drew side of the family. So you can't really ignore, you know, that side of me. Drew is my mom's maiden name. I don't know anything about my papa, I'm sure I would care to know about it, but I've always known that my identity is with my father up above. I love and serve the Lord. I always have in Wilmington, or really more the Philly area. My grandfather is a preacher of a Church of Christ. I spent a lot of my time in church, and I attribute that to who I am as a woman today. So I'm very, very thankful for my experiences and the growth that came from living in Delaware for such a long time. I lived there till I was about 12, and then we moved to New Orleans. We moved to New Orleans the year Katrina hit, guys. So for those of you who know me, you know I'm extremely resilient. You know I'm a go-getter, and that's because my mom was the same exact way. We had no choice, especially moving somewhere. My mom was planning on attending Tulane for her tropical medicine degree, and when the hurricane hit, we had no choice but to get up, move, and we ended up staying with some friends that we knew associates through, associate to the church again, so I can't ever say anything about church and about religion as more spiritual as I call myself today, because it truly is what saved me and my mother a lot of the time when I was growing up, for sure. From New Orleans, we actually moved to Tennessee again. We stayed with a family that we knew from church until my mom could get on her feet and have somewhere for us to live. And we lived in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which was a beautiful, beautiful place outside of Nashville. I still have a couple of friends and associates that follow me from there to this day, so shout out to you guys. You are some of, you know, my favorite memories. I had such a great time living there. That was the first time my mom became a homeowner. So we really reached milestones together that I can say I'm truly proud of, despite, you know, all of the ups and downs that you have as a Black woman raising a very independent child who you can't tell anything. Sorry, Mom. From Tennessee, I actually moved to California, because like I said, couldn't tell me nothing. So my mom sent me out to live in Orange County with her mother and stepfather, which I hate to say stepfather, but it's just the easiest way for people to understand that I have two sets of grandparents. Although I don't know my father or anything about his family, I do have two sets of phenomenal grandparents who are just my grandma and grandpas. Like, I don't have different names or like to call them step anything, because they are my God-given family, and I'm so blessed to have them in my life. So I got the opportunity to live with my grandparents in California for a bit. Again, an experience that I learned so much from. If you ask my grandma, I got into trouble like maybe a month into living there, and she handled that situation, I feel, in only the way a grandmother can, which was with love and was with grace. And I am so thankful for her, because she really taught me that forgiveness is truly the way to produce a child and to give them hope for a better existence. And so if it weren't for her and the way that she raised me during a very pivotal year, my 15th and 16th year, I would not definitely be who I am today. From Orange County, I moved to Texas, Abilene, Texas, which anyone who knows me knows Abilene, Texas holds probably one of like the biggest parts in my heart. I went on medical missions from the time I was a little girl, and those medical missions were based out of Abilene. So before I ever even lived in Abilene, Texas, I knew of Abilene because I was going on medical missions back dating to me living in Delaware with my mom. I went from the time I was 9 years old to 18, going to Africa for about 2 months out of every summer. And that experience is definitely where I get my servanthood from, which is why I feel it's so important to give back and to get involved in mission trips or any way that you can, because really serving others is the best way to feed your soul. From Abilene, Texas, I kind of moved on my own as an adult to San Antonio, Austin, and where I am now, which is Florida. So that gets me into one of my first questions from my friend Sylvia, which is, why did you move to Florida? So I moved to Florida with my fiance, Jalissa, because Jalissa needed a fresh start. You know, we had some really great friends and family in Texas, but ultimately I felt like no one really knew how to help my partner get out of her clinical depression. No one really knew what to do for me, because I've always just been such a stone cold chick who didn't ask for help, because I don't necessarily always know how to. And so it was really important. Obviously you hear I've moved quite a bit. Jalissa really hadn't moved out of state as much as I have, or at all really. So I knew a fresh start would be something that could really get us jump started and going. Now I'll tell you that that didn't happen until about a year after living here, but it happened, and we are so thankful to be here. We had the opportunity to stay with family, to grow closer with family, and it was really cool to get to know people on her side of the family that were different from what I already knew in Texas. And you know, one thing that I will say about moving to Florida, or moving in general, for those of you who may be afraid to move somewhere where you know no one, or you have no friends there, or you are moving and possibly staying with family that you aren't necessarily as familiar with anymore, I say do it, because it's really a great way to almost isolate yourself. God puts you in situations where you're isolated so that he can truly work and show up for you in your life. And I would say that's definitely what we've experienced here. And I'm, again, so grateful for it. So one of the next questions that she asked is, are you still doing makeup? For those of you who don't know, I've been in the industry since I was 18 when I was recruited by Clinique. Before that, actually, my mom worked for Estee Lauder when she was in nursing school. So I feel like it was just embedded in my DNA that that would happen. Although if you were to ask me now, makeup is certainly not my passion. It's just something that I think I enjoy doing. I still enjoy doing, but the answer to her question is no, I am not still doing makeup. I am a full-time student at Btw Academy right now, working on my esthetician's license and a license to be a laser hair removal tech specialist. So I'm really excited about the next journey. And getting to her next question, before I jump into talking about skincare too much, her next question is, what advice would I give to makeup artists that are just starting out or someone who is wanting to become a makeup artist? My best advice to give you is to start and not allow fear to hold you back from opportunities. You never know what client you're gonna meet. You never know what you're capable of until you actually try it for the first time and it comes out incredible. Engage with your clients, ask for their feedback, ask for what they think along the way, because something that we can get caught up in as a makeup artist is the fear of doing something for the first time. And although you're doing it for the first time and your makeup artist or your client is showing you a picture of Kim Kardashian, they don't necessarily think they're gonna look like Kim Kardashian by the end of it. They just want you to make them feel beautiful, to feel more enhanced, and to be a better version of themselves. That's the biggest part of what we do, is really making women realize you're already beautiful. We're just here to enhance your natural beauty and make you feel as confident as possible. And a lot of that confidence comes from the inside. So I guess that advice would also be, do makeup with the intention of the woman on the other side feeling more beautiful on the inside and not necessarily the outside, if that makes sense. I hope that's good advice. So she gave me a compliment along with a question. I'm gonna grab my little journal because I wrote this down. She said, your skin always looks perfect. Thanks, sis. I have something coming through right now, but I did a facial yesterday, so I know that's why. It just drew it up to the surface and it'll be gone soon. What are your go-to products? So this has changed since moving to Florida. Texas and Florida, I feel like, are on both sides of the extreme weathers. Texas can get very, very hot, but then also can get cold. To me, very cold is like 30 degrees. And I know I've lived in colder places. I know I've experienced colder, but to me, the ability to go from 30 degrees in the morning to 75, 80 in the afternoon is ridiculous. That is extreme in my opinion. I'm sure there are others that would agree, so thank you in advance. And now Florida, where it's extremely humid and always 90 degrees pretty much all year round, my skin has definitely changed. So my go-to products currently are by Juice Beauty, but more than talking about brands, I just want to tell you guys what I look for in products, so that maybe if you can't afford Juice Beauty, you can at least find a brand where you can look for these things. I look for products that have a low amount of water. For instance, Juice Beauty uses no water in their products whatsoever. They use a lot of fruit acids or juices, oils to supplement for the purpose of water, because their products are so concentrated. I look for products with organic ingredients, certified organic ingredients. I look for products with AHAs and BHAs. AHAs and BHAs exfoliate the skin. Your AHAs are gonna be things like glycolic acid, malic acid, lactic acid. Those are all products that give you that glow. So I don't have a highlighter on today, but I do use an AHA and BHA toner. Oh, BHAs are gonna be things like salicylic acid that treat acne. So the way I try to remember it, AHA is above the skin, BHAs are below the skin. I look for products or go-to products that, since I'm now more oily or combination oily, I look for products that are water-based or light in texture, lotions opposed to creams, things like that. Or you can use oils if you have oily skin, but be very mindful to use oils that are non-comedogenic. That means that they won't clog your pores, so that you don't have to worry about having oily skin and producing more oil or getting that oil trapped under the pore and then having breakouts. Can you tell I'm paying attention in class? Are you guys proud of me? Thanks. Her next question, let's see. Oh, before I actually get to her next question, I do want to say get to a question that I've gotten before, not necessarily from her, but in the Before I get to her next question, I want to get to something that I kind of just mentioned, but not in this context, which is, what do I see myself doing in the future? With me being enrolled at Btw Beauty Academy right now, I see myself getting my esthetician's and laser tech hair removal license to potentially open my own spa or open my own space to provide services to clients. Obviously, with what's going on with COVID right now, I have no idea what the future looks like. I have no idea how I'm going to bring clients in, knowing that, people are walking around with COVID and not being honest about it, or not considering the next person that may walk in, considering you as a business owner and what that means to you in your space. So I'm definitely allowing God to really just lead the way. But what I can say is I wanted to invest in myself. I wanted to invest in a passion that I had. And so where I see myself next is hopefully being a business owner, using my platform to really spread and serve God more than I ever have before in my life. And yeah, I want to empower women, children, men, my brothers, my sisters, anyone that I can to do the next thing that is truly for you in your life. That's what I see myself doing, and more often not allowing this fear of being a perfectionist or feeling awkward doing my first video. I'm not going to allow those things to hold me back anymore. So I see myself in the future being even more fearless than I've been in the past. Something that I kind of slightly mentioned is that I would see myself helping people, and the way that I want to do that, and I'm doing it currently now, is really spreading the word. A question that she did ask, or kind of something she mentioned, is that she loved my dedication to children. Thank you, sis. My dedication to children has been instilled in me since I was a child. When I did go on medical missions to Africa, something that only kids can kind of do at first is working in the children's ministry. So we did, puppet shows, little plays for the children with interpreters, and not just seeing the joy and the smiles on these faces of children who had nothing. It was so fulfilling, but it was also so eye-opening to that I would be capable of more in my life, and that God would place more on my heart and in my life in the future. So I find myself now working with people like my friend Treyon, the owner and creative director of Todd Vinci, making pieces that specifically donate proceeds to places like Safe Austin in Austin, Texas, to really spread the word and be truthful with what our purpose is. So something she asked is, what are ways that people can help out? The easiest and quickest ways I can always think of for people to help out is looking within their own homes, their own communities, for children who may be unheard or unseen. Because I know personally from my own experiences, although I had some of the most kind and, in my opinion, they were compassionate people, but they didn't necessarily know what to do with the information I was giving them, or what to do with the experiences I was having. So many people want to step in and be Superman, when in reality, I think the Supermen in this world are the people who just listen to children, who listen to what they truly need, which is usually an advocate or a friend. Out here in South Florida, we have organizations like Lauren's Kids. Lauren's Kids provides resources and healing spaces for children and survivors of primarily sexual abuse, but also any form of abuse. Ways that you can financially contribute other than donating directly are getting your Florida license plate through Lauren's Kids. That helps spread the words of the organization and what they're doing, because every time someone sees your license plate, they look up, what the heck is Lauren's Kids? What is that? How can I get involved? Places, also down here, it's called, I don't want to butcher this, so let me see, what is it called? Guardian and Litem. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's an advocacy program out here in South Florida so that you can be with children who are going through the system right now of either adoption, or they're going to courts right now to be pulled out of their homes, and they need an advocate. They need someone to sit by them and just support them, because that's the biggest thing, guys. Monetary support is great, but can you show up? Can you be there? Can you just listen and offer your heart and your kindness to people who genuinely don't receive it on a daily basis? Something that I'll say about people who are often abused is that they end up being our leaders and some of the strongest people in the world, but all of us who aren't afraid to lead will tell you very rarely do we feel supported and heard, because there aren't a lot of people who can handle our divinity and our human habits all at the same time. Another way you can get involved if you're in Texas, similar to the program I just mentioned in South Florida, is CASA. In Austin and San Antonio, CASA is another form of an advocacy group, and then Safe Austin, which I also mentioned earlier in connection to my friend and brand Todd Vinci. Safe Austin is an incredible program that provides housing but also education to women and children who suffered from abuse or running away from abuse, and they also provide free free resources for people like you and I, so that we can know what this abuse looks like firsthand, so that we can know the signs to look for. It's all about educating yourself, first of all. A lot of abuse, a lot of what goes on in homes can be prevented with education and empowerment, and I really encourage you to do that. That's free. To get educated on how you can help is free. So please do that. Please donate if you can. Please go to my friend's brand, Todd Vinci, and buy a piece that will go to the contribution of Save Austin if you can. You'll see those pieces. They say save the children on the left chest and have a butterfly on them. So please, thank you so much for listening. Send me any requests or questions that you have down below, and let me know if you want a part 2 of this video so that you can get to know more about me. If you have any specific questions about how you can do more to help children, you're also free to DM me. I'm always happy to give you guys more knowledge. That's truly my passion in life, whether it be about skincare or advocating for people who are unheard and unseen. Thank you guys again so much for watching this video. I love you.